Nak dunia belajar yang lagi seronok tak? Jom masuk ikhlas. Dengan ikhlas nak belajar secara digital di mana-mana pun mudah dan mengujikan. Seronok kan? Di kat sini ada ramai cikgu pengalaman yang sedia dan bersemangat untuk mengajar. Tak kira lah di mana-mana. Ada soalan ke tu? Kita terus. Ini tuition dalam kalian. Skor dalam peperiksaan dengan bantuan cikgu tuition. Notaan video. Soalan latih topik peperiksaan. Banyak cara kita. Tengok tu, macam-macam aktiviti dan projek ada untuk anda sesaki. Kuasai bahasa Inggeris dengan aktiviti bercerita dan menulis. Berlakon di Bengkel Bercerita. Menulis esei dengan hebat dalam bahasa Inggeris. Sains, teknologi dan matematik juga tak bosan dengan aktiviti yang sangat inovatif. Komuniti ikhlas ni besar. Inilah masanya nak belajar sama-sama dengan kawan baru secara dalam kalian. Tak kira lah sama ada nak berbincang pasal subjek baru atau cabar mereka dengan kuis mingguan. Tengok siapa boleh jadi nombor 1. Belajar secara dalam tahun boleh jadi seronok dan mudah. Kalau anda belajar dengan ikhlas, barulah boleh jadi peneraju masa depan. Terukai dunia belajar lagi seronok. Ikhlas menanti anda.
Good afternoon, teachers and students. We will start shortly, so before that, please make sure you are seated comfortably. You can have your food and drinks with you. Do make sure you have a stable internet connections. If you are with us on YouTube, please use the comment sections. And if you are with us on Zoom, interact with us through the chat sections. We would love to hear your thoughts and ideas. You can also ask us any questions you may have. Stay with us until the end to learn. Yes, you can. Yeah.
Nak dunia belajar yang lagi seronok tak? Jom masuk ikhlas. Dengan ikhlas nak belajar secara digital di mana-mana pun mudah dan mengujikan. Seronok kan? Di kat sini ada ramai cikgu pengalaman yang sedia dan bersemangat untuk mengajar. Tak kira lah di mana-mana. Ada soalan ke tu? Cikgu terus. Ini kan tuition dalam kalian. Skor dalam peperiksaan dengan bantuan cikgu tuition. Notaan video. Soalan latih topik peperiksaan. Banyak cara kita. Tengok tu, macam-macam aktiviti dan projek ada untuk anda sesaki. Kuasai bahasa Inggeris dengan aktiviti bercerita dan menulis. Berlakon di Bengkel Bercerita. Menulis esei dengan hebat dalam bahasa Inggeris. Dunia sains, teknologi dan matematik juga tak bosan dengan aktiviti yang sangat inovatif. Komuniti ikhlas ni besar. Inilah masanya nak belajar sama-sama dengan kawan baru secara dalam kalian. Tak kira lah sama ada nak berbincang pasal subjek baru atau cabar mereka dengan kuis mingguan. Tengok siapa boleh jadi nombor 1. Belajar secara dalam tahun jadi seronok dan mudah. Kalau anda belajar dengan ikhlas, barulah boleh jadi peneraju masa depan. Terukai dunia belajar lagi seronok. Ikhlas menanti anda.
Hi everyone. Welcome teachers and students to our workshops, focusing on easy writing, brought to you by Maxis Ikhlas. I'm your one and only Kakain, and I'll be learning together with you at today's workshops. Hi, hello everyone. Hi Jacinta, Cynthia, and hi Fizmi. Okay, for those who attended yesterday's workshop, can you share in the chat or comment section what it was about? maybe we can give a simple hint to our friend that missed yesterday's workshops. Okay, plot, good, Zach. Maybe other people also making a new story. Betul. Story. Yeah, betul. Actually, yesterday we learned how can we turn a well-known story into our own version by adding introduction and also ending. It's okay, Daniel. If any of you forgot to join yesterday, macam Daniel, or you miss any other workshop, previous workshop, you can simply go to Maxis e-class to find out all past workshops and other practice videos. Okay? You can also join our Telegram group by scanning the QR code on the screen. Okay, there you can find an infinite information regarding Maxis e-class and Maxis HIP StoryFest English competition. Don't forget the HIP StoryFest English competition closing dates is on 31st August 2022. So for those who haven't submitted their creative work, you still have time to do so, okay? All right. Okay, now let's do our last simple activity for Maxis E-Class 2022 workshop, okay? Now, you've gone through 7 workshops for the past week. So, can you read your storytelling or essay writing skills before and after attending all 7 workshops? Maybe sebelum you attend these workshops, you are at stage 1. Tapi sekarang after 7 workshop, your knowledge regarding storytelling and essay writing maybe at stage 5. You're new, it's okay. It's okay. So how about before yesterday and after yesterday's workshops? How is your writing skill? How can you read your writing skills? It's okay. Maybe you can join next year punya workshop juga, okay? Improve, yeah. Maybe you can share. Before is 2, after is 6, for example. Okay, can you share me your improvement? Can anyone share? Pradeep, how improved are you? 3 to 5, Daniel. Okay, good. Before 4, and then after Zach? After 5, great. Bagus. Thank you so much for sharing with me how much you improved for the past weeks. I hope today's workshop will also add value in your knowledge, okay? Now, today's workshop is our last essay writing workshop for the year 2022. And as you all already know, our essay writing workshops are facilitated by Guru Lab, which specialize in providing personalized English classes for students. We have with us today Cikgu Rachel, who will be guiding us to master the basic of writing skills. So Cikgu Rachel, over to you. Hi.
Hi everybody, welcome back to another workshop with me. I'm so glad to see all of you here. Welcome. Hi everybody. Okay, everyone can hear me clearly, right? Hi Arshini, hi Hamshini. So nice to meet all of you. Yes, hi Pradeep. Right, hello Sharifa, nice to meet you. Right, so for those of you who are new here, my name is Cikgu Rachel, and I am very excited to be sharing my excitement for writing with all of you today. And I really hope that all of you will learn something. For those of you who have attended last week's workshop, welcome back. For those of you who are new, welcome. Right, okay, so for those of you who attended last week, you'll remember that we covered a bunch of writing skills, and we also talked about how to hook your readers in with your introduction, correct? What keeps them around to, be interested in what you're writing, right? So I'm going to be sharing my screen now. Please give me a second. Okay, whoops, spoilers. Okay, right. So this is me. And yeah, for those of you who are new here, I am from Sarawak, and I recently graduated from the University of Malaya, specializing in English education. And I'm currently pursuing my master's, and I am also a huge reader, a huge writer, and I love baking, making jewelry, and romanticizing life. Romanticizing life is a very key aspect for you to find inspiration from a lot of different areas of life. You know, sometimes you're looking at the weather, or sometimes you're just looking at your friends, or sometimes you're just sitting down and enjoying a really good cup of tea and, you know, the cake that your mother baked. And you can also find inspiration from there. So I hope that the takeaway from today's workshop, I hope that if you leave today's workshop with one piece of knowledge, it is that there is no right or wrong way to be a writer. You can find inspiration anywhere, and it's never too late to start. So you may be wondering, okay, I have no experience in writing. Cikgu Rachel, I have never written anything before, or I have written things, but I don't know whether they're good. To which I say, the fact that you're already taking a big step into starting to be a writer is already fantastic. Okay, I started when I was 7 years old, and I have not stopped writing since. Right? Okay. So now, for those of you who were here last week, and the ones who are new here, you can try this as well. So we're going to do a quick recap of the 6 elements of creative writing, which we covered last week. So who remembers the 6 elements? Right, so as you can see at the side of the screen, we have the 6 elements. They're the voice, the setting, plot, character, theme, and point of view. Short form, POV. So in this case, you are going to tell me which one the answers are, and I'm going to put them I'm going to annotate them on the screen for you. So first one, the vehicles who carry out your story. Which element of creative writing is that? Okay, I just saw the chat. Okay, yes, I love cooking, but I'm very bad at it, but I'm learning. Okay, yeah. Okay, I see plot. That is a very good try, but it's not the exact answer. So which one is it? Very good, Hamshini. Yes, the vehicles who carry out your story are known as the characters. So characters can either be people, can be animals, can be inanimate objects. Are you guys familiar with autobiographies, where you have, where you get to role play to be an inanimate object? So whether or not these characters are alive or not alive or dead, they are the ones carrying out your story. Hence, the vehicles who carry out your story are known as the characters. Okay, but for those of you who volunteered the answers, very well done. Right, I appreciate your effort. And let's try for the second one then. Right, next you have your unique style as a writer. Okay, very good, Kishna. Yes, exactly. Your unique style as a writer is known as your voice. So much like our speaking voice, our writing voice has to be unique, and it also has to embody our personality as a writer. Personally, I am somebody who enjoys adding a lot of little details. I like to hyperfixate on small parts of, the fine print. Like, for example, when I'm looking at the weather and I will notice the way the sun falls on the leaves, for example, right? But some writers, they're a lot more straightforward. They usually just tell the story as it is without a lot of romanticization, to which I say that is perfectly fine. Everybody has a very unique style as a writer, a very unique writing voice. And as long as this is something that you feel comes from the heart and is something that makes you happy, go ahead. There is no right or wrong way to do creative writing. Okay, so very good, all of you. Yes, everyone has got this answer perfectly. Right, next, the perspective in which the story is told. Okay, what is the answer? Okay. Okay, very good, Caitlin. Yes, the point of view, also known as the POV. So the point of view is split into 3 main parts. You have the first person, which is you in the story. So you're telling the story as if you are in it, using the first person pronouns I or me. And then after that, you have the second person, which is normally used in self-help books or creative nonfiction, where you address the reader directly. And last but not least, you have the third person point of view, where you tell the story as a narrator, right? Okay, very good, Caitlin and everyone else. Okay, point of view, also known as POV, right? Okay, next, the sequence of events. Very good, Hamshini, yes. Haven't finished my question and she's already answered that. It's fantastic. Plot. So we're going to be focusing on plot today, and everyone will get the chance to write their own. But whoops, spoilers. And next, the place, time, and society in which the story takes place. Okay, very good. Yes, the setting. Wonderful, everybody. Okay, I'm so glad to see that a lot of you have remembered what we learned last week. That is brilliant. And last but not least, we have the underlying message of the story. Yes, exactly. The underlying message of the story is known as the theme, right? So these are messages or ideas or concepts that you want to implant upon your reader, correct? Okay, fantastic, everybody. Well done. Right. So Now that you know all the 6 elements of creative writing, let's proceed with the next one. All right, no problem, Chang. Welcome. Yeah, no worries at all. We were just recapping the 6 elements of creative writing. Okay, so now the plot pyramid and the functions of each. Let's do a quick recap, everybody. I know you got this. Come on. First one. What happens in the beginning of the roller coaster or the mountain or any form of structure that resembles a pyramid? Right, so what happens in the beginning? Very good, Zachary, the introduction. And the introduction is also known as the, okay, remember this? Okay, great, introduction, starter. It is also known as the exposition, right? Very good, Kishna, yes. So number 1, we have our exposition. So in the exposition or the introduction, that is where your characters and the context of the story are introduced, right? Okay. So when the roller coaster starts and it slowly starts climbing up, what is that part known as? Very good, the rising movement or the rising action. Very good, you guys. And then you reach the top of the roller coaster, the most interesting point of the story. Yes, very good, everybody. That is known as the climax. Fantastic. Okay. All right, great, Aliyah. Very good, the climax. And then when you've reached the highest point of the roller coaster, have you guys ever heard of that saying, what goes up must come down? Very good, everybody. It is the falling action. So remember, your climax is the most interesting point of the story and everything else changes afterwards, right? Everything else does a shift and all your characters experience changes that have been created as a result of the climax. So once you're done, you rush all the way to the end and you reach your denouement. Very good. Now, bonus points. Who can tell me the translation of denouement, if you guys remember? But if you don't remember, no worries. It's fantastic that you can remember all these points. The exposition, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and last but not least, the resolution, or also known as the denouement. So what is the translation for denouement? Okay, fun fact, for those of you who don't remember, the denouement basically means untangling or unraveling. Very good, Krishna. Yes, exactly, untying the knot. So you've already created this story. You've already weaved the knots. You've already tied these pieces together. And then at the end, you unravel everything. Fantastic, everybody. Well done. Okay, all right. So now that you remember all these plot points, I'm going to be showing you a trailer today. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. If you've watched the movie, that's amazing. If you haven't, no worries. So now, as you watch the trailer, I want you to think of these questions. What makes the trailer so interesting? Does it make you want to watch the movie? You know what? We'll ask you all these questions later. Okay, so without further ado, let me just make sure that I've shared the audio of this. Okay, all right. Can everyone hear the audio? Okay, wonderful. Okay, let's begin. Everybody grab your popcorn. All right. Okay, all right. Some of you can't hear the audio, all right? I sincerely apologize for that. Let's try again. Let's see. All right, no worries. Okay, a bit of a technical error, but it's okay. Just creating more suspense. All right, let's take a look. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, there's no audio here. All right, no worries. Let's try to fix that. Okay. Okay, no worries at all if you can't hear. All right. Okay, if that's the case, okay. Let's see. Okay, if that's the case, then it's okay, we won't show the trailer. Now, let me ask all of you a question. Okay, how many of you have watched this movie already? Okay, very good. Hamshini, yes, it's Knives Out, all right. But okay, so some of you feel like it's scary. Okay, so from the very, very brief clips that you've seen, what do you think of the movie? All right, Chris Evans is the hero. I can neither confirm nor deny that statement because I've already watched it. I'm not going to give you any spoilers, right? Okay. All right, so some of you feel that it's mysterious. Okay, it's a thriller. It's sus. Okay, why sus, Sharifah? That's a very interesting. It's a very interesting adjective to use. Why sus? Okay, suspicious. All right, the schemes of wealthy people. Okay, all right. Just give me a second.
Or
Okay.
maybe should I try to share?
Okay, yeah, that'll be great as well. Thank you so much.
Okay, let me
Okay.
just.
So in the meantime, okay, creepy dolls. Chris Evans is my idol. I completely agree. There is not a bad bone in that man. In that man, my best friend adores him. She's going to marry him someday. She tells me. All right. Murder mystery. Okay, great. Creepy dolls. All right. So a lot of you have got the essence of the trailer down pat, which is fantastic. All right. So what gave you that vibe? Even though you couldn't hear the audio, and even though you couldn't you couldn't hear the audio and you didn't get to watch the whole thing, what gave you that impression that it was spooky or mysterious or suspicious? Okay, it looks mysterious. What specifically? Okay, something behind you. Okay, a lot of okay, Fismi, that is okay. Now, bear that word in mind. All right, let's keep that. Okay, all right, let's keep that. And remember all these things you're saying as we go into the story. All right, so Kakak Ain, back to you.
Out with a rusty Smith comb.
Yes, I can hear it loud and clear. Can everyone hear it?
Owen started out with a rusty Smith Corona and built himself into one of the best-selling mystery writers of all time. 30 languages, over 80 million copies sold. You guys fans? I don't do much fiction reading. Big fan. I'm a big fan.
Who is that guy?
Mr. Blanc is a private investigator of great renown.
I read a tweet about a New Yorker article about you. You're famous.
The night of his demise, the family had gathered to celebrate your father's 85th birthday. Your son, Ransom, did he attend as well?
Yes, but he left early. We think Glenville is upset.
Blanc would get a little Irish courage in him. He'd get into it with Harlan. Richard said, what?
Are you baiting me, detective?
Attempting to be thorough so we can figure out the amount of death he made if someone killed him. You think one of his family killed him?
Mr. Blanc, I just buried my father. Why are you here?
I suspect foul play. I have eliminated no suspects. Holland's cleaning house. Everyone in the family has possible notice. Was Holland planning on putting? Did he plan to file Walter? That's some heavy duty conjecture. Funny, Ransom.
Very nice.
Gotta be looking at family is truly desperate. People get desperate, but feel that. It's less. We are finished on any minute.
For the big review.
That's me. There is non-guilty body behind it all.
You know something. Spill it.
And you want to tell me?
Okay, wonderful. Kakain, thank you so much. All right, so everyone. So while the trailer was going on, I see a lot of very interesting comments regarding the trailer. Right, that is very fantastic. Now, I want you guys to take the things that you have mentioned in the chat and let's talk about it. So when you watch the trailer, how do you feel? So even when there was no audio in the beginning, a lot of you got the vibe, the essence down pat. A lot of you said that it was very mysterious, very suspicious, right? Okay, and there was a very interesting comment from Christina, I think. Kind of feels like a movie about a killer with a detective, with a murderer. Okay, I'm not going to confirm whether your ending is accurate or not, but I will say this. You got a lot of the words right. There was a killer and yeah, the grandfather and someone, and yeah, there was a detective looking for the killer. So that's very good. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at more of the comments. Let's see. All right, so I see an emoji comment from Sharifah about the, yes, like it looks like somebody sweating. Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah, I remember when I first watched this movie, I was shook. I was, sitting in the cinema and I was just there like, oh, and I thought I predicted it correctly. But then when I reached the ending, I was absolutely mind blown. All right, okay. And let's see, they're looking for the killer, right? It is creepy, scary, and terrifying. Okay, Jao, very good use of the adjectives. Murder mystery, dun, dun, dun. So if you noticed as well, you will see that there was a word called whodunit, right? A Rian Johnson whodunit. Rian Johnson is the writer of this movie, and a whodunit is a word that is commonly used to refer to mysteries. It comes from the term who done it, right? But they mix it together and they create the word whodunit, right? Okay, so yes, I love horror movies. If you like horror movies or movies that create a lot of mystery and suspense, I would definitely recommend you to check this movie out. It's very interesting, and the plot twist at the end will shock you. I hope it shocks you the way it shocked me. All right, so one of you mentioned a very, very interesting word earlier, suspense. All right, okay, so a lot of you said mystery, suspicious. There was a lot of suspense, right? So when you watch the trailer, how did that make you feel? Made you feel scared. Okay, Sharifah, why? Okay, makes you want to watch. Okay, Hamshini, very good, right? It pulls you in, it gets you intrigued, it makes you excited to watch the movie, right? Okay, so that's very good. Now, have you guys ever heard of cliffhangers? Now, let me ask you all a question. If they have the movie, why do they even bother to put out the trailer in the first place? What is the trailer for? Okay, yes, the trailer's a teaser, right? It piques your interest in the movie. It makes you want to watch the movie, right? Okay, and usually the trailers don't reveal anything, right? Okay, so have you ever heard of cliffhangers? So when you hang off the cliff, right? Much like hanging off the edge of a cliff, when you're dangling and you feel like your feet are in the air and there is no place for you to fall. Cliffhangers in the story also refer to a moment of danger, tension, and conflict, where suspense is very high, where the intrigue of wanting to find out what is happening in the story just gets even more, it makes you very, very invested in the story. And the key here is that things are unresolved and the plot is left hanging. So some of you have mentioned that I hate cliffhangers, like, come on. Yes, exactly. My friends do this sometimes, right before we're about to, when they want to tell me a story, they're like, I have something to tell you, but I will tell you later. I hate that because it makes me so anxious. It makes me like, no, I have to know. Tell me now. So usually I tell them, okay, don't do that. Tell me now, because it makes me panic. It makes me imagine a lot of different things. And then it turns out it was actually something very simple that they wanted to ask me. So it's like, yeah, right? Especially if the trailer is a long period of time before the movie. Okay, so while we're talking about this, now, how do we leave the plot hanging exactly? Now, before we answer that, I have a question for all of you. This is a joke, so if you have heard of it, please stop me. Now, how do I how do we leave a bunch of students in suspense? Does anyone know the answer to that? How do we leave a bunch of students in suspense? Okay, I will tell you later. All right. You guys get it, right? Because yes. Okay, hanging them, suspended. Okay, that is illegal, so I'm afraid I can't do that. Okay, Arshani, what? I must know. All right, that's exactly it. Right. How do you leave a bunch of students in suspense? I will tell you tomorrow. Thereby, I am creating suspense for all of you. Understand? I did this joke on a friend once, and he was like, okay. Then the next day, he came to me and he said, hey, I thought you wanted to tell me today. It was very funny. But anyways, the point about suspense is we create suspense because we want to get people intrigued in the story that we have to tell, right? Okay, so are you guys still hanging around? Now, if you are, suspense is an incredibly intriguing plot device to use in your stories. Human beings are very curious. We want to know everything. So even there in the chat, you see, when we were doing the joke, a lot of you were like, what? Oh my God, tell me, I must know, right? Okay, so human beings were very curious. And we want this curiosity to be sated. We want to know the answers to everything, right? So as a writer, suspense is one of your most effective tools because you want to capitalize on this, on the fact that human beings are curious, and you want to add that element into your stories as well, so that you can keep your readers wanting more, and more. When your readers know that you have something to tell, but you are holding it back from them, they will be more invested and they will be very keen to see what you have to offer, right? Okay, so a lot of you mentioned, I need to know everything. I must know, I don't like suspense, right? So usually, this is a page on psychology, right? Okay, Zachary, that's a very interesting take. So sometimes, we do that to our friends as well. We tell them, hey, I have something to tell you, but I will tell you later, just to mess with them, right? But if people do that to us, we're like, no, you have to tell me now. So similarly, when we're telling stories, usually we want to keep people interested and intrigued in our story, right? And that is what makes suspense such an effective plot device, because it keeps readers intrigued and invested. Now, when all of you were watching the trailer earlier, you mentioned, okay, this is very interesting, this is very exciting, I have to know what is going on, right? So similarly, this is also a device that you can use in your stories. When you're writing and you want to ensure that people will hang around and people will continue reading your story, you will use suspense as a plot device, right? Because people always want to know what happens next. And people want to know how to create suspense in our stories, right? So can anyone give me any examples of how how writers use suspense in their stories? You can also take a look at all the stories or pieces of media like movies or books or TV series that you've consumed, and then you can add your answers in the chat, right? Okay. So what do you guys think of suspense? When you see a piece of media or a piece of writing that is very suspenseful, how do you feel? What keeps you around to want to continue reading it? What makes you think, okay, I have to know more, right? Okay, I see a lot of realization. Yes, you want to know the ending of the story, correct? You want to know what is going on. Now, usually this also happens when we're watching TV series, right? And usually right before the big reveal, they have the advertisements. Do you guys remember that? Yeah, they have advertisements. They tell you, like, for example, the main character finds out a piece of information that is major, and then suddenly it turns into the advertisement, or the season ends right there. It always happens. And sometimes we have TV series with recurring seasons where right before the next season is about to start, they have, yes, it ends right before the climax or right after, right? So sometimes the climax can also be used as a plot device in suspense, right? Because after the climax, everything else changes. And you want to know what happens as a result of the climax. But then they don't reveal it to you. They're like, okay, if you want to know, you got to keep watching this series. Or you got to wait around. Yeah, you got to stick around. Then you'll be able to find out what happens after that. Right? Okay? And I hate it when that happens because sometimes there are TV series or books or movies, right? Pieces of media that take a long time to be produced. Like, for example, in books, usually it takes the author about 1 or 2 years to write, and then you're just there like, you've read the book and then you want to remember. Yes, like Harry Potter. So what I usually, yes, I will go crazy. I completely understand. Which is why usually I take a few years to, I think I only started reading Harry Potter when I was, when I was in high school, because all the books were out by then. I was like, you know what, to save myself the suspense, I will wait for all the books to come out, then I'll read everything. Yep. Okay. This is why I watch spoilers before I watch the movie. Okay. Between you and me, I do that as well. Usually I like reading the plot on Wikipedia just to know what is going on. But I find that sometimes it does deduct from the movie watching experience, right? Okay. So sometimes it is worth going to the movie without any context, right? Okay. So besides suspense, we also have a few plot devices that you can use, right? So let's take a look. Number one, we have flashback. Okay, now before I tell you what a flashback means, who can tell me what it means? If you are an avid media consumer, you will have encountered examples of flashback very, very frequently. Very good memories when I was little. That's very good, actually. Going back in time, past memory of a character, going back in the past. Okay, fantastic, everybody. Yes. Imagine the trailer said coming soon and the movie comes in 2024. Oh my goodness. I think I will tear out my hair just waiting for the movie, right? Okay, very good. So you guys are very familiar with flashbacks, correct? So let's take a look. So flashbacks are a classic plot device. We encounter them in media and in books and in writing all the time. Correct. Okay, triggered by nostalgia or the person explaining the past to somebody else. So flashback happens when the character is recounting something that has happened in the past to give context or to kind of allow you to understand what is happening in the present. All right. Okay, so they can either be positive, right? Like a very fond memory, or it can be a negative memory. Like a lot of you mentioned here, nostalgia, sadness, right? Sometimes you remember things in the past and then it helps you to understand context in the present. So how many of you have watched Frozen before? Okay, Frozen, right? Frozen was one of my favorite movies growing up. And you guys remember that scene where her parents died in the shipwreck? Spoilers, by the way, if you haven't watched Frozen. And yeah, so there was also that flashback where Elsa, couldn't control her powers, which is why her dad made her wear the gloves, right? So in the present, when you look at her wearing the gloves, you will understand why she's wearing the gloves. So usually flashbacks are used in this case, right? You recount a memory from the past to kind of give you context as to what is happening in the present, right? Okay, very good, everybody. Now, let's talk about irony. Okay, who knows what irony means before I explain the meaning? Okay, all right, no worries if you don't know, right? Fun fact, I didn't know irony until I was in high school. I actually learned a lot of things in high school, and it's great that you guys are knowing this now. All right, so irony is when things do not happen as expected. So for example, you're expecting something to happen. For example, if you're writing a story and you have a character who studies very hard, who reads all the time, who is the top student in school. So when you have a character like that, obviously you would expect the character to do very well in their exams, right? Okay, but then it turns out for the final exam, they don't do very well, okay? Or in irony, there are also some parts where you as the reader, you know what is going on in the story, but the characters in the story don't. For example, Romeo and Juliet, right? Everybody, the audience, the readers, we knew that Romeo and Juliet were both alive in the final scene, but then they didn't know that. So in the end, they ended up dying, right? Okay? It is a bit like a plot twist, but we'll explain that later, right? So it occurs when there is a clash between expectation and reality. So examples include situational and dramatic. Now, situational is the one we mentioned earlier, where a situation does not turn out as expected. Like the kid earlier, the very smart kid who studies very good. Yes, Daniel, like a fire station on fire. That is an irony, right? Because you would think that, okay, it's a fire station. Their job is to put out fires, but then the fire station is on fire. Or you can talk about a cook who doesn't know how to bake, maybe, or a cook who doesn't like eating, right? Okay, yeah. Or like Vincent van Gogh, no, not Vincent van Gogh, Beethoven. Beethoven was deaf, but he could compose fantastic music. Yes, like the person who doesn't let other people copy their answers, but they copy other people's answers. Yes, that is an example of irony. All right, very good. So it looks like you guys are clear on what irony means. All right, everybody okay before we proceed to the last one? Everyone okay so far? Still with me? Okay, wonderful. All right, and now let's take a look at the last one. We have the plot twist. Okay, so the plot twist has become a very popular plot device, especially in recent, in a lot of books, right? Okay, so we have the plot twist, and the plot twist is a fan favorite. The plot twist creates a very dramatic turn in the plot, and it proves the reader's assumptions wrong. Yes, Caitlin, I love plot twists as well. Sometimes I'm reading something, I'm just there like, I did not expect that to happen, right? Okay. Fire station, like firemen and stuff, right? Okay, so a lot of you are very familiar with plot twists, right? So can any of you remember the biggest plot twist in, maybe a book or a movie that you have consumed before? For me, yes, life is a story, Arshani, and correct. And sometimes in life we also have a lot of plot twists, right? Okay, and what better way to get inspiration for your stories than real life? A lot of my writing is based on things that have happened to me or things that have happened in real life. I use a lot of people as inspirations, right? Okay, heroes become villains, villains become heroes. In Megamind, okay, that's interesting. All right, okay. So what was the plot twist in Megamind, Zachary? Actually, don't tell me. I'm going to watch Megamind. But if you want to, you can tell the rest, but I'm not going to look at it. All right. So besides Megamind, what other plot twists can you guys think of? Is anyone a Star Wars fan? All right, me neither, but I do know that the biggest plot twist in Star Wars was that, what's his name? Darth Vader was Luke's father. Luke, I am your father. Yeah, that is a plot twist because you would not expect it, right? All right, okay, nope, never watched it. I'm so sorry, I just gave you like the biggest spoiler of all time, but actually it's a very commonly known spoiler, right? Yes, I am your father. That was the plot twist. Okay, so it looks like everyone is very familiar with flashbacks, irony, and plot twist. That is very good, right? Because after this, you know what? I'm not going to tell you now. I'm going to keep you waiting. Okay, now next one. All right, the plot thickens. So the following are examples of the previous devices. Remember, flashbacks, irony, and plot twist. So let's take a look at the first one. A hobo decides to get in prison to avoid the winter chill. During the day, he does various things that could get him arrested, right? Because he wants to escape the cold of winter, right? Okay, but he doesn't, his attempts don't succeed. They're all in vain. As evening approaches, he comes to a cathedral where organ music is being played. The music stirs in him boyhood ideals and aspirations. So he decides to give up the hobo life for a more constructive and purposeful one. Unfortunately, at that exact moment, a policeman arrests him for loitering. Okay, what plot device is this? Okay, does everyone understand the story? Basically, this beggar, he wanted to be in prison because he wanted to escape the cold winds of winter. And then finally, when he decides to change his life, turn things around, he finally gets what he wanted, which was, to get imprisoned. So which one is this? Is this a flashback? Is this a hobo is like a scruffy, usually homeless person, right? A homeless man, right? A beggar of sorts. Yes. Right. So, okay. Right. Very good. A lot of you have given the answer irony. That is correct. Now, why is this ironic? Can anyone tell me the answer? Why is this ironic? What is the irony here? Yes, when he decides to make his life better. Very good. Right at that moment when he decides, you know what? I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to turn my life around. He gets arrested. Very sad, isn't it? Right? A lot of ironies like that where you have a lot of, you have a lot of things like that. Right? I remember another story I really enjoyed. I actually don't remember the movie, but it was about this man who wanted to, he did not want to live anymore. So he wrote a lot of letters for his loved ones. And then finally, one day, he decides that, you know what, I'm going to enjoy life, right? I'm going to make my life better. So he burns all the letters because he wants to continue living, right? that night he dies of a heart attack. Yeah, I felt that was so ironic to me. I was just there like, that is the saddest thing ever, you know? Right? Okay, let's take a look at the next one. A man is about to give a speech to a large audience on biology. Suddenly, he remembers playing with frogs and toads in his backyard as a curious child. He smiles fondly when he thinks about that and begins to speak to the audience about a new groundbreaking fact about frogs. Very good. Yes, flashback. Very easy, isn't it? Right? So this man remembers a childhood memory, and then in the present, we realize that he's actually, you know, he's relating his childhood memories to like his current career, which is, he's giving a speech about biology and he's talking about frogs. Well done, everybody. And last but not least, once at a funeral of a distant relative I never knew, a man approached me and told me sadly, life is short. Make sure you appreciate it. Don't be like me. All right, very good, everybody. Plot twist. Why is it a plot twist? Can you tell me why? Before leaving the funeral, I decided to pay my respects, and I was shocked to discover that the man I talked to earlier was the same man in the coffin. After years of trauma, I finally found out the deceased had a twin brother. Yeah, plot twist. All right, what is the, okay. All right, why is this a plot twist? Okay, coffin, yeah, the twin brother, very good. Yes, all right. So everybody is familiar with flashbacks and irony and plot twist, right? Okay, some kind of interesting points. All right, so over here, the plot twist is that, you know, this person thought that the person that he talked to somehow came back from the dead, or it was a ghost or something, right? Right, something supernatural has happened. But it turns out there was a logical explanation for this the entire time, which, yes, correct, Zachary, very good. Years of fake fear. Okay, Susanna, loitering is when you are hanging around in an area, right, without the intention of, you know, buying anything. Basically, you're just wasting space of sorts, right? Personally, I don't understand why loitering is a crime, but it is a crime in some places, like the US, if I'm not mistaken, right? Okay. All right. So before a deceased means dead. Okay, right. So before we continue, does anyone have any questions about suspense, flashback, irony, and plot twist? Everyone okay so far? Everyone with me? Right. Okay, wonderful. Great. Okay, how's everyone doing how's everyone doing so far? Right? Are you intrigued to find out what we're going to be doing today? Right, everyone? Okay, fantastic. Okay. Great. So earlier I mentioned you guys will be doing something, but in true suspenseful fashion, I did not tell you what it was, but now I'm going to tell you. Okay, but before that, right, so you have your plot, right? Now, how do we elevate it? Before we start writing, we always have to plan our plot first. So remember the plot pyramid that we learned earlier, the roller coaster, right? In the beginning, we have the exposition, and after that we have our rising action, and we have our climax. Then everything goes down afterwards in the falling action before it finishes in the denouement. You guys remember that, right? Okay, so the first step in creative writing is always to remember or to plan out what it is that you want to write. Plan out these ideas in your head, right? So think about, correct, into the thick of it. Exactly, yes, I was hoping someone would get that reference, right? So you can think of your writing as a soup or batter. I don't know if any of you are familiar with cooking or baking, or you've experienced it before. But if you have, then think of your writing as a soup or a batter that you need to create, right? You can't just throw your ingredients in a pot and expect it to magically turn into something. Teacher, next week is my birthday with chocolate cake. Happy birthday in advance, right? Many happy returns of the year. Yes, not just the day, the year. Right, so before we get into the thick of it, before we thicken it, before we create it into something that is truly outstanding, right? Like chocolate cake. The chocolate cake doesn't just happen when you throw all your eggs and your flour and your sugar and your chocolate into a bowl, and then you cross your fingers and then boom, you create a chocolate cake. It doesn't happen like that, right? Right? And writing is a lot like that as well. So number one, you need to plan what you want to create. In this case, what are you creating exactly? Are you creating a murder mystery? Are you creating a story that will hurt people? Are you creating a sad story, a romance, a comedy? What is it? What are you creating? So first, you plan that out, and you get your ingredients in place. Now remember all the elements that we talked about. Remember the elements, the plot, and all these devices that you're going to use. And number 3, trust the process. Follow the instructions. Yes, it is like making a cake. Follow the instructions. Write everything out. Have all your ideas in place. And then see what happens after that. All right, I have Hari Sukan this Saturday. Okay, that's nice. Are you taking part in anything? Right, all the best. You got this. Okay, so as we have all of this, right, we have our plot now. How do we elevate it? How do we make it into something that's even better? Right? So this is where your plot devices and everything that you've ever learned, this is where it comes in. Okay? Right? So your 6 writing elements and the plot pyramid and all the devices that we learned, flashback, irony, suspense, plot twist. So these are like your ingredients when it comes to writing, right? The process of baking a story, correct? Flour, butter, sugar, eggs. You can do 1,000,001 things with them, right? Okay? You're just supposed to create them, right? Plan out what you want to create. Organize your ideas, right? Get all your ingredients together and then start writing. Okay? I know that sounds very, that sounds very simplistic, like, teacher, what do you mean start writing? But sometimes the beginning is the hardest. Yeah. The hardest place is the beginning, right? Personally, as a writer, I've encountered many situations where, I didn't want to start writing because I was scared. I didn't know how to lay out my ideas. But sometimes when you start, you realize that the only person holding yourself back was yourself the whole time, right? So sometimes it's okay to start and look back on it and think, okay, it's not very good, because you can always change it later, right? Okay. So now it is your turn to try. Right, so think about all the things that you've learned from last week's workshop and also this week's workshop, and we're going to create a plot together. Now, when I say create a plot together, I don't mean that you're going to write an entire story for me in like 10 minutes, all right? What I want you to do is we're going to throw around some ideas together and we're going to see how this could be fleshed out into a very good story, all right? So let's take a look. Let's plan out a plot together using this introduction, and it will be annotated and pasted below. Now we have the introduction. It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Now, this is your introduction, correct? Remember how last week we talked about introductions, right? And this week we looked at plots and all the other plot devices. So now I want all of you to think of ideas for the exposition for each part of the plot, and then we're going to plan it out together. All right? Okay, so let's plan a story together, everybody. And then we will see how the process truly fleshes out into something magnificent. Okay, all right. So let's take a look at the first one. It was a bright, cold day in April and the clocks were striking 13. So what is the impression here? All right, you were scared, Sharifah. Why? Okay, it was a bright, cold day in April and the clocks were striking 13. But the school bell didn't ring. Okay, all right, let's use that. Right? We're going to throw around ideas together and we're going to create something, okay? All right, hold up. 18. Okay, so Sharifah said, I was scared. Whoops, big letters. And Hamshini said the school bell didn't ring. So maybe you can combine those two ideas together. You can say, I was scared because the school bell didn't ring, right? Even though the clocks had struck 13. Suddenly someone knocked on the door. Okay, now think about your setting. Remember, setting as the element, one of your elements in creative writing. Where is this story set? Are they in school? Right, because school bell, I would assume they're in school, right? Okay, great. Knocked on the door of what? Okay, knocked on the classroom door. Okay, cool. Right, so suddenly someone knocked on the classroom door. Okay, all right. Now, in your introduction, usually you want to ease your readers into the story, correct? You don't want them to okay, it's like swimming, When you go swimming, you dip a toe in the water just to see whether the water is cold. You don't just jump straight in. I mean, people do jump straight in, but in this case, we want to ease your reader into the story, right? Okay, it was a bright, cold day and the clocks were striking 13. I was scared because the school bell didn't ring. All right, let's see. Okay, black figure, knives. Let me take a look at all your comments. All right, that's very interesting, everybody. All right. Suddenly someone knocked on the classroom door, but it wasn't the teacher. What? But it wasn't the teacher. Okay, could you see the figure? Okay, it was the headmistress. It was the headmistress and she was drenched in blood. What? And she was drenched in blood. Oh my goodness, you guys, why is this story so scary? If I have nightmares tonight, I'm blaming all of you, okay? All right, so introduction. Okay, let's stop right there. Introduction, right? So remember, Daniel, can you hear us now? Okay, right. So introduction. Remember, you don't want to put too many things in the introduction because if you put everything there, then where's the rest of the story going to go? That's right. Remember all those things you mentioned, right? I was scared because the school bell didn't ring. Someone knocked on the classroom door, but it wasn't the teacher. It was the headmistress and she was drenched in blood. Oh my goodness, I'm terrified. Do I want to continue this story? Do I want to continue this story? Okay, you know what? Let's continue. All right, next. Okay, blackout. All right, power going off. Okay. Maybe for that case, right, you want to create suspense, correct? Maybe you can add the power going off in a later part, right? Let's talk about okay, why is the headmistress drenched in blood first? Okay, all right, my classmates zipped their mouth. Some of them were crying. Okay, all right. It's very scary. All right. The headmistress came closer to me. All right. Okay, came closer. All right, maybe you can say approached me, yeah? Came closer to me. Suddenly, a light flashed and boom, she disappeared. Guys, what is happening? What is this? I am terrified. I did not think that this introduction would create something so scary, but you know what? You guys continue to impress me. All right, okay. Okay, so a light flashed and she disappeared. And then what happened? So what happened after when she disappeared, the students started cheering and laughing. What is this, you guys? Okay. Okay, and boom, she disappeared. And then maybe you can say, okay, remember the blackout earlier? You can add the blackout here. The lights went off. And everyone started cheering. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's hold this. Hold your horses, everybody. All right. So while there are a lot of fantastic ideas here, and I really appreciate it, let's try to make sense of these ideas, okay? Right. So when you're writing a story, obviously you have all these ideas, right? Your brain works faster than your hands do to like type or write, okay? So you list down all these ideas. Later on, we'll structure them together to create something that is, that makes sense. Let's take a look. Okay. The lights went off and went back on. Everyone started cheering. Okay, so we're just going to spitball ideas. Later on, we'll arrange them into something coherent, right? Okay. Heard some gunshots. What? No. Okay, heard some gunshots and screaming from the staff room. Okay. TikTok. Okay, so I see that a lot of you are utilizing the suspense function very well. Like, I myself am very intrigued as to where this story is going. All right, she came into the window. She came into the window and she's behind me. Pick one. All right, she came in the window. Let's take a look. Who came in the window? The headmistress? Window and started laughing. Okay, you guys, I am terrified. If I cannot sleep tonight, I'll remember it's because a bunch of kids in the workshop traumatized me, okay? All right, came in the window and started laughing. Okay, all right, what else? It was all black. The bravest student decided to go and investigate. Okay, first of all, mad respect. Bravest student decided to go and investigate. All right, okay. The athletes abandoned school. What? Okay. All right, okay, so we have all these ideas. Let's take a look. Okay, zip their mouth. Some of them were crying. Okay, everyone started. Okay, all right. Now, which parts of this story can we, okay, which part of the rising action can we delete in this case? Because we want to make the story make sense, right? Okay, so what allows it to make sense? Let's take a look. Lights went off, went back on. Okay, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Okay, maybe for this one, we can delete the bit where she, she started laughing, right? Okay. All right, okay, so this story is taking a very, okay. Now, what is the climax, everybody? What is the climax of the story? Now, it was a bright, cold day in April and the clocks were striking 13. Are we going to find out why the clocks are striking 13? Come on, everybody. Okay, what happened? Wait, hold on, hold your horses. Now, let's take a look. The bravest student decided to go and investigate. What happens to him after that? Okay, so when you're writing a story, also remember that remember all the things that you have mentioned earlier. Because if you leave that part of the plot hanging, your readers will wonder, okay, what happened to this? These are known as plot holes. When these parts of the story are not addressed. And when you're writing a story, you want to avoid creating these plot holes, right? You want to make sure that everything is covered as properly as possible. Okay, so who is running down the hallway? Okay, so wait, hold on. The bravest student, he dies? Right. Okay, the bravest student, he went missing and never came back to class. Oh my goodness, you guys. All right. He went missing. So after a few moments, okay, let's take a look. After a few moments, the door opened. But instead of the bravest, okay, the door opened and his bloodied corpse. Yeah, okay, maybe the door opened and then his corpse like slid into the class, right? Slid into the classroom. Oh my goodness, you guys, this is terrifying. All right. Yes. You and me both, Sharifah. There was a note on the ground. The body came with a note. Wow. Wow, you guys. The body came with a note that said, you can't escape. Okay, I'm terrified. I'm going. Right. Now, falling action. What happens next? After that very, very scary climax, what happens after that, guys? Okay, all right. So Sharifah, how would that make sense? Because he called the police, right? Okay, so what happens after that? Okay, come on, everybody. We only have a few more minutes left, so let's finish this. All right. So the teacher tried to call. Okay. Everyone started screaming, right? I mean, obviously, if I saw a body slide to the class, I'll start screaming as well, correct? Everyone started screaming. And then what happened after that? Right, everyone started screaming and running to the exits. However, the exits were also full of corpses. Oh my God, you guys. All right, okay, they thought of escaping through the window. What happened after that? They thought of escaping through the window, but it was glued shut. Oh my goodness, this is so scary. All right, it was glued shut. Okay, what happened next? Okay, did the police come? Okay, lights out. Emergency. Everyone headed to the emergency exits and used an axe to use an axe. All right. Okay. All right. The students tried to, but to no avail. Okay, all right. Let's finish off this very, very convoluted story, everybody. All right. Okay, Christina, I love that. Right. So that was a plot twist. You realized all the characters Okay, it was actually an abandoned school, which was reported to be haunted years ago. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay. And finally, the killer was outside. Yeah. So we can either do that, right? We can either do A. Hold up. The killer was outside, or it was actually an abandoned school which was reported to be haunted years ago. Right. Oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, let's take a look at our masterpiece, shall we? Right. Wait, if it was an abandoned school, why are you there? Okay. I have some theories. Okay, my theory is that maybe like like Zachary mentioned, I came there while I was hallucinating, or I'm actually one of those who got murdered and I never found peace. And we are doomed to repeat the events of that day forever. You know, like a loop, right? Like a time loop, you know that, right? Okay. And anyone who goes there to investigate ends up being part of the. All right, let's take a look at our insanely scary plot. Okay, number one, I was scared because the school bell didn't ring. Someone knocked on the classroom door, but it wasn't the teacher, it was the headmistress, and she was drenched in blood. Oh my goodness. And then after that, my classmates zipped their mouths. Some of them were crying. The headmistress came closer to me. Suddenly, light flash, boom, she disappeared. Tick tock, the bravest student decided to go and investigate. All right, how did the brave student die? Now, see, that is an example of a plot hole, right? So you can address it when you flesh out the story. Usually, when we create plots are meant to be a structure for our ideas. We put down our ideas here. We don't write the entire story, okay? Right? In the plot, this is still the drafting process, right? Okay? So use the plot as a guide, a frame of sorts to help you plan out your story, right? Okay? And then after that, you have the climax, right? The bravest student he went missing, and then his corpse slid into the classroom with a note, "You can't escape." Oh my goodness, you guys. All right, everyone started screaming and running to the exits. However, the exits were also full of corpses, and in the end, either the killer was outside or it was an abandoned school which was reported to be haunted years ago. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, everybody. That was incredible. All right. Okay, so if you ever flesh out this story, you can actually take a screenshot of this plot and try to write something of your own. Who knows, this might be the story that, starts your writing career, right? Okay, but now, before we end the session, what do you guys think of this plot? All right, so there's a lot of things happening here, correct? Right? A lot of, it's very, very intense, correct? All right, very spooky and very creepy. Okay, right. So before we end the session, now is everybody clear on how to plan a plot and how to use these different devices? So what are the devices that we've used here? Towards the end, we've used the plot twist, correct? And we've also used the irony in the falling action. Remember that part? And also where the bravest student decided to go and investigate, he came out dead. That is an example of irony as well, isn't it? Yeah? Okay, all right. Okay, everyone okay? Let's clear this very, very scary plot, shall we? And let's proceed. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Yes. Okay. Right. Now, one last thing before I leave all of you. Now, if ever in doubt, put yourself in your reader's shoes and think about how your readers would feel when they're reading this, right? Okay? And ultimately, I want you guys to remember that there is no right or wrong way to do creative writing. I remember, just trust the process, trust yourself, let your ideas flow. It doesn't matter if your ideas are ridiculous or scary or nonsensical. Remember just now, right? Every idea can actually work. It depends on how you structure them. Even the craziest or the most insane ideas can also turn out to be something incredible. If it doesn't make sense, don't worry, it's all part of the process, right? Okay, so let's say, right, you're writing a story, it doesn't make sense, you feel like it doesn't make sense, it's fine. Just keep writing, right? Plot out everything, and then after that, when you're done dumping all your ideas, go back to the story and restructure everything. Take a second look at it first, all right? Okay, dump all your ideas out, take a second look, restructure everything, try to create something. And if you ever feel like, okay, this isn't right, my heart is not in it, no worries, you can scrap it and you can try again. And that's the best part about creative writing. Creative writing it's a very forgivable medium, right? Okay, it's a very you can make mistakes and you can, you can mess up, and no worries, you can always try again, right? Okay. Before we end, you guys have any questions for me? Oh, that was a roller coaster, everybody. Thank you so much for participating, and thank you for all your fantastic ideas as well. Right, it was a pleasure getting to read all your ideas and structure them into a very interesting plot. All right, okay, right. Now, before we end the session, any questions from the audience? Okay, all right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for giving me the chance to take a look at all your incredible ideas. All right. Okay, wait. Yes, Caitlin, what is your question? Please tell me about you. Please ask me questions. I'll be more than happy to help you. Right. Have I published any books? I'm hoping to publish a book someday. Right. If you ever see it in the shelves, like yes. If you ever see it in the shelves, I'll be honored if you take a look at it. Right. Thank you very much, Hamchini. That is a lovely thing to say. Last time, Caitlin, you remember the brownie recipe? Oh my goodness. Okay, all right. Okay, very quickly, I'm just going to say it. All right, take notes. Caitlin, that is incredible. That's an incredible memory. Oh my goodness, I have to be very careful about the things I say. Okay, my secret brownie recipe. Should I just end the session here? Leave you guys in suspense. Should I do that? All right. Okay. In my my brownie recipe, 250 grams butter, 200 grams of chocolate. Your butter and your chocolate has to be have to be good quality. All right. That is what makes the brownie amazing. Then 360 grams of sugar. That's a lot of sugar, but it is worth it. 85 grams of flour. Wait, no. Is it 85? 85 grams of flour. 85 grams of cocoa powder. Cocoa powder, butter, sugar, eggs. Right, 4 eggs and what was it? And 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So melt your butter and your chocolate together first, and then mix all your dry ingredients in a separate container. Once you're done boiling your chocolate and your butter, pour the dry ingredients into that mix until smooth, and then put in your eggs. And then after that, yes, thank you very much, everybody. All right, yes, thank you. Thank you, Billy, for writing that down. Yes, very good. No, not 5 grams cocoa, 85 grams cocoa, okay? If you put 5 grams of cocoa, your brownies are not going to be delicious. Mix everything, put in your eggs, and bake for 30 minutes at 180 degrees. Okay, all right. If you ever try writing, or if you ever try baking these brownies, do let me know, and I'll be more than happy to take a look at the results. All right? Thank you so much, everybody. You have been amazing at this. I really hope you've been inspired to write a story today, and I sincerely believe that everyone here will do something amazing with their lives. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of the week. Thank you, teacher. My mom has taken note. Good. Okay. Make sure. Yeah. All right. Make sure you let me know when you bake the brownies. Okay, everybody. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of the week. Thank you. Okay, back to you, Ain. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Cikgu Rachel. Let me just share my screen sekejap. Okay, so all right. Okay. Thank you so much, Cikgu Rachel, for the engaging sessions. And well done, everyone. You've created an intriguing plot. And as this is our last workshop for 2022, I hope all adik-adik here had gained a lot of new and useful information, which not only can be used in the competition, but also in your studies, okay? And remember, you can watch all previous and today's workshops at Maxis iKlas. So make sure you get yourself registered. And if you've missed the recipe, you can also rewatch this workshop so you can get the full recipe. Okay? All right, one final thing before we end. As usual, there are e-certificate for those of you who join us. So all you need to do is to complete the feedback form at the link on the screen. And you can also scan the QR code. Yes, Daniel, correct. You can also go to the Maxis e-class YouTube channel to rewatch the workshops. And for this feedback form, you need to complete the feedback form before 5 p.m. tomorrow. I repeat, before 5 p.m. tomorrow, complete the feedback form and your e-certificate will be emailed to you within 5 working days. Please make sure that the email that you've given is correct and don't forget to check your spam or junk folders. Okay, you can also always reach out to the Telegram group. If you're students, go to the My Students Hub. If you're a teacher, you can go to Cikgu Hub and reach out to us there. All right. Can anyone share the link to the form in the chat? I hope one of my friends can do that. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Daniel. Student Hub. HUB. All right. Okay. All right. That's all. Thank you so much, everyone. Good afternoon and bye.
Nak dunia belajar yang lagi seronok tak? Ha, jom masuk ikhlas. Dengan ikhlas nak belajar secara digital di mana-mana pun mudah dan menunjukkan. Seronok kan? Di kat sini ada ramai cikgu pengalaman yang sedia dan bersemangat untuk belajar. Tak kira lah di mana-mana. Ada soalan ke tu? Tanya cikgu terus. Ini kan tuition dalam harian. Semua dalam peperiksaan dengan bantuan cikgu tuition. Nota video. Soalan latih peperiksaan ada banyak cara. Tengok tu, macam-macam aktiviti dan projek ada untuk anda selesai. Kuasai bahasa Inggeris dengan aktiviti bercerita dan menulis. Berlakon di Bengkel Bercerita. Menulis esei dengan hebat dalam bahasa Inggeris. Dunia sains, teknologi dan matematik juga terpusat dengan aktiviti yang sangat interaktif. Komuniti ikhlas ni besar. Inilah masanya nak belajar sama-sama dengan kawan baru secara dalam harian. Tak kira lah sama ada nak berbincang pasal subjek baru atau cabar mereka dengan kuis mingguan. Tengok siapa boleh jadi nombor 1. Belajar secara dalam harian boleh jadi seronok dan mudah. Kalau anda belajar dengan ikhlas, barulah boleh jadi peneraju masa depan. Menyukai dunia belajar lagi seronok. Ikhlas menanti anda.
Bye, everyone.